Good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for being here. Wow, what an amazing turnout. What an amazing day. Did everybody have a great day today? So for those of you that do not know me, I am Jen Bonet. I am the General Manager of ATDC, the Advanced Technology Development Center at Georgia Tech. We are Georgia's technology incubator, and so we help entrepreneurs learn, launch, scale, and succeed in the state of Georgia, specifically technology entrepreneurs. We've been running programs here in Savannah for over 10 years, and we're very proud to be a host and partner on Geekend, along with Guildhall and Creative Coast and a number of other organizations. I actually gave a shout out to this in the last presentation with the investor panel, and my only reason for being on stage here tonight is to tell you about some things that we're doing. So we are in the middle of kicking off a study with CEDA, Savannah Economic Development Authority, Georgia Tech Savannah, and ATDC have come together to do an innovation and entrepreneurial ecosystem study in the city of Savannah, in this region. And so we were getting ready to kick it off right before the announcement came out, and you probably all saw in the Savannah Morning News with the IT Corridor project that Senator Martin has recommended that Savannah be a part of. We put the study on hold for a couple of weeks while we figured out what the IT Corridor project was supposed to be. Now we're getting ready to kick it off. So within the next 2 weeks, you all will be getting an email from me personally, Jen Bonet, asking you to take 15 to 20 minutes to tell us about who you are, what you do in an innovation ecosystem, what kind of startup you have, what kind of innovation you're doing, and what you see in this community is already here today, and what you think needs to be in this community to take it to the next level. And so I'm here right now asking you, when you get that email from me, jen@atdc.org, you take 15 minutes to fill it out so we can have a meaningful impact and grow this ecosystem to be a tremendous economic driver here in the Savannah region. That's all I got. Without further ado, I'm going to actually turn it over to Jose, who's our ATDC catalyst here in the Savannah region, and he's the man who has made this event right now happen.
Thanks, Jen. If you don't have to come to my house and do that when I get home, that would be awesome. Thanks for coming. This is an amazing turnout. I'm really happy to have worked on this event with so many people, but probably most proud of all the companies that applied. I don't think you'll ever see, there are 35 companies that applied for this event all over Georgia, as well as one in Houston, Texas, and one in, where's Brian? Shout out to Beaufort, also applied. And they're all great companies, and I think the 6 that got through, I think are really, really interesting companies at different stages that I hope you'll enjoy. We have a great, if you wanted to look at me for an hour and a half, it's awesome. We have a great host, our MC for this event. You've probably heard her on a regular basis on GTV. She's the voice of All Things Considered, a friend and a wonderfully talented MC for tonight's event. Cindy Hill, give it up.
Okay, so I love a theme, I don't know about you, and we've got our circus barker, sir, you win that prize big time. Thanks for getting everybody kind of correlated. So like an actual circus, we're going to try to keep this moving really fast. And to that end, we're going to review the rules. Presentations are limited to 5 minutes. Jose is going to flash a lovely yellow card. Savannah, there you go. That signals that you have 1 minute left. A red card means stop. I will gently come over to you if you do not stop. And we will then open up the questions to our lovely panel of judges who we're about to introduce. When the questions are finished, you can take a seat. And the winner of tonight's pitch service will take home a $5,500 prize and a bunch of great in-kind stuff too. So yeah, absolutely, that's totally worth it. So if we're talking about a circus, obviously sponsors are one thing. So if we had a big tent, this is who would be on that tent. City of Savannah, the Forum Group, Malabo Communications, and Hunter McLean. Let's give a hand to them. And be sure to visit the sponsor tables for between sessions. All right. So again, with the circus theme, if we're doing that whole thing, the judges would probably be the tigers. So you presenters are going to be the tiger tamers. So good luck with that. No whips, no whips. So let me introduce them. Susan Catron, who's the executive editor of the Savannah Morning News and SavannahNow.com. Chris Farrell, who is the vice president of VIP Capital. Greg Kolovich, who's the chief medical officer and co-founder of MicroC. So do we have a doctor now? Very good. We also have two other doctors. They're not that same kind of doctor, though. Dr. Jonathan Lambright, who's the Dean of the College of Sciences and Technology at Savannah State University. David Nelems, the CEO of the Don Ryan Center for Innovation. And last but not least, Dr. Kelly Shaver, who's a professor of entrepreneurial studies at the College of Charleston. All right, without further ado, let's welcome our first lion tamer, Malcolm Howard of ProjectMQ, which is based here in Savannah.
All right, we'll go over here. All right, when do I start? We are ProjectMQ, the discovery platform and global incubator for the world's best independent video games. Our mission is to connect, support, and grow the global independent or indie gaming community. And this is my personal copy of Super Mario Bros. 3. My identical twin brother and I got it when we were 6. And I pressed the wrong button. I don't know what the thing is. I did that. Oh. And we've been playing video games ever since. I'm sure you've probably heard of a little video game called Minecraft. But what you may not know is before Microsoft purchased Minecraft for $2.5 billion, it was created by a small team of talented, independent video game developers. Minecraft was a worldwide success and earned $100 million in 2015. And that helped the global video game industry earn $92 billion that same year. That's right, more than the movie and music industries combined. There are thousands of incredible independent video games, just as amazing as Minecraft. But unfortunately, indie game success is more the exception than the rule because of the indie apocalypse. Seriously, the indie apocalypse describes the catastrophic market conditions facing talented indie devs today. The average independent video game developer earns less than $500 in revenue, and that's not surprising because a new game launches about every 20 seconds. With over 100,000 games in the marketplace today, between gaming consoles, computers, and mobile device app stores, trying to find the perfect video game is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. We are ProjectMQ, a new hope for indie games. Think of us as sort of a matchmaker between the gamers and independent game developers. Gamers use our app to easily find amazing indie games, and game developers use our service to make more money. Like Steam, Twitch, and YouTube, we're a social platform. What makes ProjectMQ different is that our content is handpicked for originality and quality. We complement the existing platforms by integrating their content into our site, increasing their views and their revenue. We project a low customer acquisition cost of 11 cents per user. And I know what you're thinking, 11 cents per user? How is that possible? The answer is simple. As soon as I can change the slide. Word of mouth is the most effective form of marketing. So we've designed our customer acquisition strategy around people's love to share awesome content. And now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking social media marketing, that's their master plan? Yes it is. We've used Twitter to validate our strategy and our concept for our platform. We are now the top influencer on Twitter for independent video games. Our content regularly generates over 2 million impressions every month, and that's all without the help of advertising. This proves the global market demand for high quality and original independent video game content, and we're barely scratching the surface here. Our revenue model is free plus premium, like YouTube and Spotify. Gamers can use our ad-supported app for free, or they can pay a low monthly fee. They can pay a low monthly fee to subscribe, to remove ads, and unlock subscriber discounts and premium features. We have a multi-platform working prototype of our app, and which will support all the devices that are popular with our gaming audience. And our alpha site is live now at ProjectMQ.com. Our core team is made of lifelong gamers, and we've worked together on ProjectMQ for years. My identical twin brother, which one is that? My identical twin brother and I have worked at technology companies for 10 years as startups building platforms. Avik is a gaming design wizard, and Russo is a well-known and well-respected industry game pro. We're raising $500,000 to launch ProjectMQ in 75 countries and create extreme value for our investors. The global video game industry is expected to double over the next 5 years, and we positioned ourselves we positioned ourselves to grow along with it as gaming goes mainstream. We're following the footsteps of Twitch, All right.
Okay, do our judges have any questions?
Yes.
Jonathan Lambright.
Great presentation.
Thank you.
So help me to understand, if you post the games on your platform, is that what you're saying?
No, we're more of a meta marketplace. So people go to stores to buy things, but they discover it somewhere else, and that's where we are for video games. People come to our site to discover the games, and then they go elsewhere to buy the games. And we just make the ad revenue and subscription revenue for those visits.
Who's your competitor? Who else does this?
The closest competitors we have might be the 800-pound gorillas in the room. That's Steam, Microsoft, Sony. They all sell games, but they're already selling the games that are making money, so they don't have a lot of incentive to fix the problem like we're fixing it. And they won't compete against each other or compete against us by joining together because they're competitors.
Do you depend on any proprietary technology from the makers of the games?
No, we do not.
So you haven't launched it yet?
Yes, we have. We have an alpha site live now.
Alpha site.
Mhm.
How many users?
We have about 15 developers and about 1,200 gamers that use the site on a non-regular basis as we work up close.
Any paid gamers yet? Are they free?
No, not yet. No, we haven't worked out the subscription part of it yet.
And what's your burn rate on a monthly basis?
About $200.
$200? That's what I ask you. That's good. That's what I ask. How much do you have in the bank?
Less than that.
You gotta ask the follow-up question. One more. I'm sorry, I don't want to hog this. So what makes you different from everybody else that's doing this? Why are you different?
We're different because our content's curated. So there's no secret that there are a lot of games in the market, but when you go to Netflix, they recommend content that matches your taste. If you like sci-fi movies and maybe you like action movies. So we're curating our content to make sure that not only it's high quality, because there's tons of stuff, anybody can make a game, but we want to make sure that the content is high quality and original so that every experience someone has playing the game leaves them with a lifelong impression.
Do we have any other questions from the judges? Greg?
So 500,000, do you have a valuation?
No, we don't.
What would 500,000 look like?
Perfect question that I was prepared to answer right somewhere else. Whoops. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I don't know what happened to the slide. It'll be 2 years. It pays for a developer and a business marketing person plus some ad revenue to enhance what our current organic content marketing efforts.
What does that give me at the end of it? Like what percent?
We would work that out in the terms.
Yes, Jonathan.
Thank you. Did Malcolm, is the, say, $2 per user per year?
Right.
Is that correct?
Right.
And you think you can go up on that user fee?
Right, yeah, that's the industry standard for ad revenue per user. Of course, that's dictated by the demand for the platform. So as we reach 500,000 users, the advertisers that want to reach our audience will probably want to pay more than that.
Great. Thank you so much, Malcolm.
Thanks.
Up next, we're going to welcome Tommy Linstroth of Green Badger from Savannah.
Now that I have your attention, feedback. I'm going to stand over here so the judges have a better view of the screen. So I'm Tommy Linstroth. I am founder of Savannah-based Green Badger, and we are a SaaS platform providing automation solutions specifically for the green construction marketplace. Why green construction? Because it's a huge and growing portion of the overall roughly $7 trillion that gets spent worldwide on construction. That makes about 40% of that marketplace. And as you can imagine, anything to do with a green compliance, there's an added level of bureaucracy that you've got to comply with. And nowhere is this more true than for these projects that are pursuing LEED certification. LEED is a green building rating system. It's created by the U.S. Green Building Council and is considered the gold standard of green building certification. It is required by more than 70% of Fortune 100 companies on all of their facilities. And these slides did not transfer in this layout. And 100% of federally funded projects are required to pursue LEED certification. Throw on top of that 2/3 of states, thousands of municipalities and universities. You have a huge public sector and private sector pull pushing for LEED certification. And while LEED has evolved over the past 16 years or so, the process for actually managing compliance and certification has not. And now I know this because I've lived in this world for over 12 years as a consultant, and I've taken over 100 projects through the certification process. And in fact, I'm a LEED fellow, which is a designation of expertise that's been bestowed on less than 300 people around the world. So I've seen, lived, and breathed firsthand how terrible this documentation certification process is. Teams are using these antiquated spreadsheets to track millions of dollars of products over years of construction. And you can imagine how, Forbes had an article, 75% of spreadsheets have errors in them. And you're basing your certification over years of tracking it correctly in these cobbled together spreadsheets. They're using their labor-intensive processes, literally going through page after page of data sheets to try and find that one point to know if they can use this product, or literally picking up a can of paint as they're walking the job site, trying to read it and see, is this paint going to screw me over or not? Much like TurboTax took that box of receipts and your 1040 and automated it, Green Badger is doing the exact same thing for green building and LEED certification. Our web and mobile platforms eliminate spreadsheets, provide centralized data aggregation, real-time reporting, and instantly verify thousands and thousands of green building products. We've got a unique offering with nothing really like it in the marketplace. We're extremely intuitive and easy to use. Again, just like TurboTax, right out of the box, it walks users through what they need to do to obtain their certification. This results in saving users about 60% of the time that they used to spend chasing paperwork, time they can now spend using getting buildings built on time and on budget. And finally, we reduce the risk that they miss these contractually obligated certification goals that are tied into their contract. If a contractor misses those goals, it opens them up to hundreds of thousands of dollars per month of liquidated damages. We've got great traction over the past 2 years, 130 projects in 25 states and Canada, and we count 7 of the top 10 contractors in the country as our clients, as well as some key owners such as Wells Fargo, Jones Lang LaSalle, and PricewaterhouseCoopers. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Again, this is a huge, huge marketplace. By 2020, there's going to be 600,000 construction starts worldwide. About 250,000 of those are going to be green or have a green requirement to them. That provides a market opportunity of about $2 billion. We're uniquely positioned to pursue that as well. There's a lot of other players in the market in construction management, but the big guys focus on scheduling, estimating, job costing. They don't do anything with green. On the design side, on the green side, it really focuses on the design and the architecture. We're the only one that really bridges the gap between green and construction management. We've got a two-phase approach to revenue. Right now we do project-based subscriptions that average about $3,000 front-end loaded. That's grown to about $6,000, but where the revenue really kicks in is with our enterprise clients, where we're looking at 50 to 150K of your more traditional ARR. We've also got future derivative products for international rating systems and other construction management opportunities. We've got a great team. Again, I provide industry expertise, and I've been in this for years. Greg and Ben have built our product and continue to tweak it to meet our customer demands. And Rick has had experience selling into the construction and design from a software perspective for years. We're raising $500,000 as well to put fuel on the fire. We've got great market traction. Last year was up 300% over the year before. We need to build out the rest of our sales team. Rick can't do it himself. We need a proper PR and marketing campaign, and we need to bring in some additional tech support to help us get to those first enterprise clients, $1 million in revenue next year, and that'll again help us shoot our revenue up. We're looking at getting over $8 million by 2020, and that's going to help us that beyond financial success, we're working to make every contractor their own expert in sustainable construction. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
That was good. I really like these, what I call these dirty back software where no one really pays attention to this kind of stuff, and you make a lot of money doing it. So a couple of questions. So the enterprise sales is going to bring you a lot more revenue. Is that just based on number of seats available, or is this core software any different?
It's based on total number of projects. So Turner Construction we work with right now on a regional basis, we want to get all 500 of their projects in. So we would work out based on the total volume of projects that they'd be looking at managing in our system.
Okay.
How big is that? What's the smallest that someone would need this software to manage their construction?
We're working on a 4-month project on a Hugo Boss flagship build-out in Boston. We're also working on LaGuardia Airport for the next 5 years. So we've got a 4-month project and a $5 billion airport project, because regardless of how big or small it is, you've got to track this stuff. And it's required in your contract. And if you're not equipped to do it and you screw it up after the fact, you're still in breach of contract, which isn't cool.
Is it nationally regulated, or do all states require it?
About 2/3 of states require it for publicly funded. Cities like Boston and DC require it for anything, even if it's private. You've got anything federal, so anything military, any GSA related stuff is required 100%. Thousands of municipalities and universities require it as well.
Are you cash flow positive yet?
We are cash flow positive on a month-to-month basis right now.
And how old is the company?
We're about 3 years old, 3.5 years old.
What keeps you up at night? What scares you the most?
What keeps me up at night? Well, you never know when something could drastically shift the landscape of the real estate development marketplace. But what protects us, fortunately, even if we had a downturn like we did in 2008, is that unless that didn't mirror it, even if private development went down, what powered the real estate industry in 2009 through like 12 in the recovery was that federally funded projects were still funded. So unless all federally funded projects stop, there's still going to be huge demand for managing lean certification. And even then, a lot of the projects we're in, they're tied-in, they're long projects, they're big projects, they're hairy projects. LaGuardia is not going to stop doing a build-out of Terminal B of their airport. So, that's always top of mind, but I sleep good at night.
Who else?
Thank you. Tom, question. In terms of the program itself, is it modular? Is it just one large program, or can you sell different pieces of it?
We're getting to selling different pieces. So right now it is managing all of the general contractors, construction-related obligations for elite certification. We've got another program which just focuses on waste that's coming out. So waste is like the low-hanging fruit. If you want to be green, what do you do at home first? You recycle your can. What it is with contractors, even if they're not pursuing LEED, they want to be able to track this recycling. And right now they're doing it half-heartedly or in spreadsheets. So we're going to be rolling out this year a low-price intro module, so we get them reeled in. We get that revenue on every project, regardless if it's LEED or not. And then when it's LEED, we've already got it in the system, and then it's just taking candy from the baby.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Tommy.
Thank you.
And as our judges are doing their thing, the organizers have asked me to announce that there is a Toyota 4Runner that's parked blocking some of these driveways. So if that is your car, you probably want to go move it because there you go. No, if it's your car, you want to go move it because otherwise it will probably be towed. All right. Great.
Thank you.
Ready to go?
Yes.
Okay, great. Up next we have David Shpigler of Kugobi, right?
Yes.
Yeah, great, and he's based in Atlanta. Thanks for coming down today.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to Timmy and Kenny. They're classmates in the 3rd grade, and Timmy is an accelerated learner, whereas Kenny's struggling to keep up. Now, they're both in the same class, so as a result, they're being taught the same way at the same exact time, even though they have very different needs. See, Timmy has the potential to really accelerate his learning curve, but at the same time, the teacher teaches typically to the average student, and as a result is not challenging Timmy, and he's getting frustrated and really is bored. Whereas Kenny, on the other hand, has issues that he's really struggling with and needs help. But at the same time, he's learning as an average learner, so a lot of those issues are being covered at a very surface level, and he's not getting the support he needs, and he's falling farther and farther behind. Unfortunately, too much of the education world operates exactly like this. We teach to the average student, and we sort of hope that we catch all the other students along the way. I'd like it, if you would, to take a look at these 2 photos of classrooms set 100 years apart. Here's the question. Can you spot the key difference between these 2 photos? It's a trick question. There's really no difference. At the same time, we're teaching the same way that we basically did 100 years ago, with students seated behind neatly arranged rows of desks. In the last 40 years, we have increased our spend per student in education by over 175%. And what have we gotten for that additional expenditure? Falling test scores, and the United States, that used to be #1 in education, is now number 36. You see, we're spending more and more money on pencils and desks, and somehow we slip behind Bulgaria. We have to stop teaching to the middle and hoping for the best. It's as if we're trying to build a Tesla Roadster and using all the technology of a Model T. Kugobi is a personalized education platform that enables accelerated learning for students. In fact, studies have shown that the approach that we use can accelerate a student from the 50th percentile performance all the way to the 98th percentile. You see, what we're doing is we're bringing to bear all the greatest capabilities of machine learning on one side and combining with cognitive analytics and pedagogy, and the educational pedagogy called threshold concepts, to create something in the marketplace that just doesn't exist today. Every student on the Kugobi platform, as they go through, they're going through all the different activity sets in education, and we're monitoring them to identify their strengths, their weaknesses, and their individual learning style. And by doing this, we can deliver to each student exactly what they need, when they need it, and that's how you accelerate student learning. It's as if every student now has access to a personal tutor, only with artificial intelligence and with a scalable platform. The education technology market is huge. It's $27 billion a market a year and growing, and that represents the needs of 58 million students. Now, we all know that personalization benefits all students, but in a world where education is too often taught to the middle, it's those students that are farthest from the middle that benefit the most. Customer discovery that we've engaged upon has identified 3 segments of the market that are particularly sensitive to this issue: homeschoolers, learning disabled, and gifted and talented. and their parents are actively seeking new solutions because what's on the market just doesn't support their students today. Collectively, they represent 17% of the market. Kugobi operates under a SaaS business model with a monthly subscription price of $25 per student. It's meant to be used at home and supplements what the student is learning in school. Best of all, it's all standards-based, so it tracks as the student is going through the program. I came up with the idea for Kugobi based on my own experience as a father. My youngest daughter, Piette, was struggling in school, and there just weren't enough resources available out there to help her in what she needed. I've been able to pull together a fantastic management team, headed by Janet Rao, who's one of the leading educators in the state and has founded 5 schools in the metro Atlanta area. Stacy Kenworthy, a leading and successful entrepreneur and technologist, has launched multiple technology platforms, and Lexi Petrick, an accomplished marketing executive. We also have highly established advisory board with capabilities in entrepreneurship, education technology, marketing, and operations. We have a very scalable business model that enables us to achieve market profitability within the 3rd year of operation and the potential for $100 million in revenue by year 5. We're seeking $2 million in funding for our full technology and education stack and market launch by August.
Thank you. All right, great. Do we have questions? Do you want to start? Okay.
First of all, very good presentation, very good setup of explaining the marketplace, a good delivery. So a couple of questions. So it's $25 per month is a supplemental learning course for different students. So how many courses are available?
Sure, so what we're looking at is starting out as with the younger students, it would be English, math, and science, and that would be all combined together.
What grade levels?
Where our first round of launch is going to be pre-K through 3rd grade.
What's your go-to-market? How do you get the customers?
So our approach with go-to-market is really at 2 levels. We think of it as air cover and ground forces. The air cover is the SEO, SEM, digital marketing deployment, but again, with those 3 key segments of the market, that's where the ground forces come in. We've been able to identify how we can tap into these groups with field force that will go out and meet with the homeschool groups as they have different meetup groups, as we go with the different associations for the gifted and talented and learning disabled groups. And so it's basically going to be a 2-tier approach.
Given that you're attempting to solve a problem that is essentially created by the public schools or by regular schools, to what extent is the time that a student spends in a regular school antithetical to what happens on the platform?
So we don't see it as antithetical. We're supporting what they're doing in the classroom. We're not advocating that students should stop going to school or take time away from that. In effect, all the educational programs that parents are purchasing, that $27 billion today, we want to make that spend more productive. So by having it adapt to the learner and making it much more dynamic, it can supplement what the student is doing in school and create an upward curve and help the student achieve those breakthroughs much faster than they're doing today.
David, who do you think is your nearest competitor?
Right now, the closest to competitors would be what's known as adaptive learning platforms. Folks like Dreambox and Alex and Newton and folks like that. They don't have that same dynamic capability. They tend to be more adaptive on the assessment level and not on the follow-through, but that's the closest that exists today.
So that marriage between the machine learning and the cognitive analytics, is there something new and innovative going on there that maybe proprietary?
Right, so what we're doing there is, certainly machine learning and AI exists today, and the pedagogy exists as well. So bringing that together in and of itself is not completely proprietary, but some of the developments that we have on top of it in terms of how we map, and in particular, one of the things we're looking at is how we break down these educational standards into micro details. So for example, 2nd grade math, right now Common Core maps in 24 different segments. We're spreading that over 105, so we can really micro-target what the student performance is, and that's proprietary to what we do.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, David.
Thank you.
judges a second to finish making notes. I don't know about you, but I think we need to be judging these people. These are really great ideas. Very inspiring just to listen to you guys. All right, so up next, hang on, gotta get our keeper. It's red. Got it. All right, everybody ready? Fantastic. Up next, welcome Lamar Russo of McFinney, which is based in Brunswick.
Absolutely, thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lamar Russo. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for McFinney, and we are based in Glenn County, about 60 miles south of here, if you're not familiar with that. And as a summary, McFinney converts waste into energy. And we are going to tackle 4 major problems that are affecting our country, help improve the quality of life and environment around the world, and since we are a privatized company, make a profit. Carpet, plastics, and non-recyclable items are going into landfills at an alarming rate. They're going into our creeks, rivers, streams, and ultimately ending up in our oceans. And these items, these waste materials, take, and sometimes hundreds, if not thousands of years to decompose. Secondly, the coal industry has been decimated. There are thousands of coal workers that are currently out of work, and we have a valuable commodity in coal. It's the cheapest source of energy, and what the coal industry needs is new science and technology to keep up with our ever-growing environmental concerns. Now, the public has been educated that coal is dirty, and the coal industry, in turn, has put out a clean coal campaign. We agree with the environmentalists that clean coal is an oxymoron. However, clean fuel from coal is now a reality through McFinney. You've got power generators that are producing power to the grid through coal-fired boilers that essentially is pumping carbon dioxide into the air and suffocating our world with a blanket that's causing illnesses all around the world. This is obviously what we're going to do to address that. And the solution is the McFinney patent pending process. And within that is what we call the enzymatic extraction vacuum conversion process, or EEVC for short. This is not incineration. That's where we have gotten ourselves in trouble throughout our society as we continue to burn all of these plastics in carpet. This is a closed loop system. It's in a contained environment. So we don't have smokestacks, we don't have waste rolling into our waterways. It's a combination. When we take that coal and our proprietary enzymes, which really is the secret sauce in that combination, then we bring in the carpet and the plastics and create valuable commodities that can be sold on the open marketplace to be heavily profitable. Now, within EEVC, what is the commonality between coal, plastics, and carpet? Is that they are all carbon-based. That is the secret as well. That we can, through that vacuum process, as opposed to heating it, we are going to essentially change the chemistry of those elements into more workable products. So again, nothing is going to be unrecovered. We're going to use that, each and every one of those elements in it. So carpet goes in, valuable commodities come out the back end. The economics. We continue to develop relationships with the carpet industry, specifically Shaw Industries, and the coal industry. And in order to get this low or negative cost feedstock, there are warehouses full of carpet right now because they can't be taken to the landfill because of some of the new federal legislation. They are willing to give us that feedstock. The coal industry as a whole, we're buying tons of coal at $11 a ton. So from a cost standpoint, we have a very low feedstock. 5 billion pounds of carpet go into landfills annually in the United States. That's not a worldwide number, that's a U.S. number. We actually have a prototype facility operating in New Mexico. We've run a monthly test, and you can see we've got some generated profit numbers there. But when you take a look at the sheer scope and volume of what we're talking about, the numbers are astronomical. 2.5 billion tons annually, and the number almost didn't make it, just over $46 billion in profit potential as a whole solution. We've assembled a team with over 200 years of experience in business development and leadership, but specifically on the chemistry and physics side related to the oil and gas industry. So we are very specific, as well as we need government assistance and with government affairs, as well as the political and environmental society as well. Now we have put just over $3 million into this over the last 3 years, and we are asking for $5 million as a first run and looking to develop a partnership with a venture capital group.
All right, do we have questions for Lamar?
Lamar, you said there's no incineration, is that correct?
Yes, sir, correct.
In terms of commodities coming out on the back end, what are you talking about?
Right, various grade fuels that essentially, so we have diesel, kerosene, could be other types of gases, nitrogen, hydrogen. So all of those commodities have a marketplace development for those items.
Other questions?
What is McFinney's core business? This is something new, right?
New technology, yes,
So
sir.
what is your core business right now? What are you doing? Or is this is the brand? This is the whole thing right here?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, $18,700 per profit per ton of carpet.
Correct.
And you get the carpet free.
Free carpet. We have, landfills are a major concern right now to a lot of people. So the carpet companies are having to take in their post-consumer carpet you pull out of your home, they can't put it in the landfill. So they have to take it, warehouse it, and they are dying for a solution.
You said you have to do a patent on this process?
Patent pending, correct.
Patent on the enzymatic biological
Exactly.
process, digestive process. You know, you can do a patent on that.
Exactly.
So for the $5 million you're looking for, what do you want to do with it?
We want to run a mass energy balance to confirm all of our findings to make sure what we have going in and actually validating those results in the back end. Building an actual mobile unit to be able to move throughout various areas, and then that would get us into, because right now you've got carpet warehouses all over the country. I mean, we're going to start small. We have a facility in Brunswick. We can start at that location and build out from there.
You can turn it into a mobile unit?
On 3 tractor trailer beds, correct.
Bring it to wherever. And
It's like if you're in Atlanta, you're in Rome, and obviously Dalton is a big part of that being in Georgia because of all the carpet companies that are located there.
What do you project an overhead would cost? You say it's 18,000 profit per ton. I mean, how much you have to pay to make it?
Right, yeah. I mean, we calculate about $60,000 on that monthly run, but we're turning through right now at about $25,000 a month just in our current state. What it's going to turn into is growing that from a scalability standpoint, because obviously we can't attack the big problem where we are right now. I mean, we've got an up and running, actual plant running, but we need resources to be able to grow that to a much larger scenario.
What sort of regulations? I mean, can the EPA step in?
Right. The EPA, we are open arms welcoming all people. We don't have smokestacks. We don't have releases out into, there is no waste consumed after the process is over. So a lot of those regulations will not apply, but we want them to come and see it firsthand and go through it with it to confirm all that.
How many employees does it take to do this?
Currently, in our current state, we have 6 employees running that facility with the number stated today. But again, based on the sheer size and scale that we want to get to, it would certainly be more than that.
How quickly does the process occur?
Usually to run the enzymes, call it a 10-day period. And again, we can start processing carpet as soon as we have the enzymes corrected. But over that, it's a dual phase process. So the enzymes will be created in one phase, and then the carpet and the plastics would be vacuumed out on the next phase.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Lamar.
Thank you, everybody.
Bad things happen when microphones get too close. Yes. I'm going to give the judges another minute to finish their scoring.
So can I play with the I got it. It's going now.
Our judges ready? Great. All right, she's already up on stage. Welcome Kathy Piette of Corstrata, which is located here in Savannah.
Correct. Thank you. Welcome to Corstrata, a technology telehealth company for preventing and managing wounds. How come I haven't before? Chances are that you or someone you know has diabetes. In my case, it's my father. And like 1 out of every 4 diabetics, he develops a diabetic foot ulcer. How come this? His diabetes caused him to lose sensation in his feet, and as a result, he didn't even realize he had a gaping hole in one of the soles of his feet. He nearly became 1 out of an amputee, like 1 out of every 16 diabetics. Diabetic foot ulcers and their complications are costly. In fact, every year they cost more than each of the most costly forms of cancer. Diabetes is a problem, huge in the U.S. 9% of the population has diabetes. Another 25% of the population is pre-diabetic. 70% of those will go on to develop diabetes over their lifetime. There are 90 million patients, people who are at high risk for developing diabetic foot ulcers. And just in this year, over half of the diabetics in the U.S. will lose some type of sensation in their feet due to neuropathy. Another 1.8 million people, or 6%, will develop a diabetic foot ulcer. And another 3.6% will lose a limb to diabetes. And that evidently went off the string. And it's just not a national problem, it's a local problem. Savannah, Georgia just sits in the heart of the diabetic belt. And to compound that problem further, only 1 out of every 600 nurses are wound care certified. So Corstrata solves this problem by pairing new mobile technologies with our wound experts in order to not only detect and prevent diabetic ulcers, but also to treat existing ones. We are in a partnership with the only FDA-approved smart mat that actually can detect developing foot ulcers 5 weeks in advance. Our nurses can use our patient engagement app in order to interact with these diabetic patients and prevent that ulcer from occurring. Our SaaS-based model, we charge our customers a monthly fee for managing the care of their diabetics. In less than 2 years, we are revenue positive with customers like home health and hospice, inpatient rehab hospitals, as well as wound supply companies. We are telehealth experts. My co-founder Joe Evelwine and I were pioneers in the telehealth space. We understand how to provide access to care through technology. Our core team and our team of advisors are wound experts. They are noted wound industry leaders in the U.S. and abroad. We want to make people like my father from getting a diabetic foot ulcer and breaking the cycle that takes him to amputation. I am here today because Corstrata intends to impact this statistic. If you want to help us build this company, we would love to talk to you. My name is Piette. We are Corstrata. We provide expert wound care anywhere. I'm going to see a video.
You made it work. All right. Who's going to start with our questions?
Kathy,
Yeah.
could this be expanded to other healthcare areas? It seems like the focus is on wound care for diabetic foot ulcers. Can it be expanded to other areas?
That's a great question, and absolutely. There are many types of chronic wounds, including pressure ulcers or bed sores, venous stasis ulcers, a myriad of chronic wound types. So yes.
I'd like to follow that up by asking whether your team can actually do anything to treat pressure ulcers, or is this all about prevention?
It is not all about prevention. We are treating as well. So because we have board-certified wound care nurses, we not only prevent, but we also treat those wounds using the evidence-based best treatments along with efficacious wound supplies.
My question is about billing. Insurance, what providers? Is it CMS, Medicaid, Medicare?
Great question. Healthcare is very complicated. And typically we're in a world of fee-for-service where you bill for an individual transaction. But we're moving away from that into a value-based kind of reimbursement model. There are companies out there in a subscription model like ourselves, like Aspire Health and Solera Health, that are actually going to value-based payers like Medicare Advantage plans who are given a single sum of money to manage patients for a year. We can save these patients, save these payers the monies with our services.
What's your go-to-market strategy? If I have diabetes and potentially could have it also, how do I know that I need your product?
Exactly. Great questions. Currently, we're working in the provider segment, so we are working directly with nurses who work with home health companies, hospices, and nursing homes. And they often lack the knowledge of evidence-based latest wound care because it's a very complicated science. So we are empowering those nurses at the bedside to give better wound care. Right now, we are not in a direct-to-patient model, with the exception of the ostomies. And we are working directly with the ostomies, and we're charging them $60 a visit to help triage certain issues with that problem.
Two questions. What is the subscription fee per patient? And do you have any patients that are insurance reimbursement currently?
The answer is to insurance, no. But we are actively seeking and working with 5 current payers in order to do a pilot study and a paid pilot in order to bring in our new partner that has the smart map that can actually detect the diabetic foot ulcers. We are talking with, in the end process of talking with several of those payers, and we're talking about a $200 to $300 per month fee for managing those patients. Each and every patient that's at high risk for developing a diabetic foot ulcer.
The patient is paying $200 per month?
No, it would be the payer paying us to manage their particular member at high risk for diabetes. What they all ask us is that, are we willing to go at risk with them? Are we willing to say, we won't charge you anything, but if we save you this amount of money, we'll share in that savings. Or even better, we will charge you if you don't save any money on this patient. So go at full risk. And we're not ready to do that. We intend to do that. But first we have to have a pilot in order to prove out our numbers.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Kathy. Well, our final presenter is coming to the stage. I'll remind you to stick around after this because we've got Mary Katherine Cobb, who is a wonderful startup entrepreneur and a leader of many businesses. You're going to want to hear, we're going to have a chat with her. You'll have a chance to ask her questions as well, so stick around after this. Let's welcome Daniel Shiner, who is here from Athens. And your company is named?
We are Skyraider Aeronautics. We're actually based out of Augusta, Georgia.
Fantastic. I'm taking this back. I'm sorry, I did not put that down on my notes. Thank you, and take it away.
We went through our project really fast. Let's go get here. That's so bad. We're going to do it all back in time. There we go. All right. My name is Daniel Shiner, CEO of Skyraider Aeronautics, an agricultural drone company based in Augusta, Georgia. Right now, in the world, by 2023, we're expected to hit 8 billion people. It is imperative that we increase our crop loss so we can feed these people, increase our crops. In order for us to be able to do this, there's going to be a big challenge. In the U.S. alone, almost $200 million is lost to preventable causes, such as plant disease, wildlife and insects, and irrigation failures. $200 million. What we propose is to utilize unmanned systems to go to these farms and identify, diagnose, and eventually solve these problems. By providing high-level reports within 30 minutes of flying, we can give farmers the opportunity to act on that problem and save their crops. This is Hurricane Irma damage in Florida. It caused almost $1 billion in crop failure. We were able to go identify any of the damage and then send those to crop insurers so that they can pay out the farmers faster and the farmers can use that to reinvest in their crops. How we propose to do this is to build a network of local operators to build upon existing relationships so that they can help their community solve their problems. How we intend to reach these customers is through trade publications, direct marketing, and agricultural field days, where farmers meet with technology companies and academic institutions to help solve the problems for the future. Also, by connecting with the agricultural extension agents, crop consultants, and crop insurance providers, we use that to propagate our product and to also help with analysis and diagnostics.